Okay, kings and queens, once again, you are tuned into Africa Speaks with Alkebu-Lan on Galaxy Radio, the only de-brainwashing station, and our subject today, kings and queens, is Jeremy Corbyn the Prime Minister we've all been waiting for? Yes, indeed, kings and queens, is Jeremy Corbyn the Prime Minister we have all been waiting for? Tendamwari. After making several pledges not to do so, the UK's third national poll in as many years following last year's Brexit referendum and general election the year before takes place on June the 8th. When announced, many pundits predicted a landslide victory for Theresa May's Conservative government, with the opposition Labour Party, led by Jeremy Corbyn, largely seen as unelectable. However, the adage that a week is a long time in politics. With just days to go, Reuters reported, quote, May's election gamble is in doubt as poll leads fall to 1 point, unquote. Although it should be added that as a result of the last two major elections, quote, polls are now less trusted, not least because they tend to underestimate Conservative performance. Indeed, kings and queens, as was seen in the recent election in America, the Conservative performance was grossly underestimated, resulting in the election of Donald Trump. As we continue, polls aside, one area where there has been a marked increase in support is among certain elements of the African community. On one level, African support for the Labour Party is nothing new. Indeed, it is still the most likely destination for African votes, although in recent years the Conservatives has been gaining ground, with episodes like Smethwick in the 1960s, Enoch Powell, and the Are You Thinking What We're Thinking campaign. General antipathy from the Nasty Party has also helped willed Africans to the Labour Party. In fact, research by Lord Ashcroft has found that in 2010, quote, not being white was the single best predictor that somebody would not vote Conservative, unquote. Very interesting, kings and queens. Ironically, the Labour Party is not without its contentious issues, such as its passing of the 1968 Commonwealth Immigrations Act, to its more recent reluctance to field non-white candidates in winnable seats, in contrast to the Conservatives. But since the ascension of Jeremy Corbyn to the head of the party, support for Labour and its leader in particular has intensified. Initiatives such as Africans for JC Values, that JC, kings and queens, stands for Jeremy Corbyn and not Jesus Christ.
Close enough.
You know what I mean? We have to be clear, you know, kings and queens.
Jesus Christ, step aside now.
Indeed. Africans for JC Values launched in February 2016, and Momentum Black Connections, MBC, launched in December 2015, have made clear their support. Quote, Momentum Black Connections is an independently self-organized, autonomous, self-determining black power constituency within the network of black people and organizations to continue the energy and enthusiasm of Jeremy Corbyn's campaign. We are committed to advancing black power perspectives on the 10 priorities that Jeremy Corbyn has identified as his own standpoint, unquote. NBC's definition of black is, quote, includes those that do not regard themselves as white and are not treated as being white. There's been more recent developments in African support for the Labour leader, with some utilizing the hashtag grime for Corbyn. For those who may not be aware, grime is a genre of music, kings and queens. A number of high-profile MCs such as Stormzy, Skepta, JME, Novelist, and AJ Tracy have come out in support of Corbyn to try and engage their young constituents to elect him into power. Another prominent MC to back Corbyn is Mobile Award winner Akala, although he arguably offers a good reason a reason not to support as to support. Quote, why will I be voting now? Jeremy Corbyn, it's not that I am naive enough to believe that one man, who is of course powerless without the people that support him, can fundamentally alter the nature of British politics, or that I think that if Labour wins, that the UK will suddenly reflect his personal political convictions, or even that I believe that the Prime Minister actually runs the country. However, for the first time in my adult life, and perhaps for the first time in British history, someone I would consider to be fundamentally a decent human being has a chance to be elected. Many of the left-leaning activists find a natural ally in Jeremy Corbyn, but one somewhat surprising addition to the chorus was Brother Toyin Adbetu, founder and Pan-African Human Rights Organization Legali. In a YouTube video published on May 12th, Brother Toyin asserts that voting Labour on the 8th of June is, quote, one of the most revolutionary acts that many will make in this lifetime, and that, quote, we have nothing to lose but absolutely everything to gain, unquote. In contrast, directly referencing the likes of Akala and Toyin Adbetu, Green Party candidate Brother Rashid Nix, in his own YouTube video published on the 22nd of May, claims that the black Corbynistas, as he refers to them, are, quote, naive and have been, quote, hoodwinked. Ultimately, he queries whether they, quote, still inhabit the mental plantation and the religious imagery connected to it of a bearded, sandal-wearing white messiah figure with the initials JC, unquote. What has been absent from pre-election commentaries are the hyperbolic exhortations to vote to make your ancestors proud, or that not voting renders us undeserving of respect, and agents of the devil who would not lift a finger for black people. These were the pronouncements of our good brother Dotun Adebayo of BBC fame Kings and Queens a few years ago. Also largely absent is a clear, coherent, autonomous, i.e. not linked to or inspired by a mainstream political party, Afrikan Agenda. So while the work of the likes of Operation Black Vote in identifying how BME community can decide the outcome of key marginal seats is useful, the absence of a pre-existing agenda coming out of a functional community with which to leverage the competing parties effectively reduces the vote to an individual effective exercise. Ironically, much of this work was central to the vision of the Interim National African People's Parliament, iNAPP. iNAPP's aim, as listed in its manifesto, quote, to be a national independent representative body designed to promote, preserve and protect the best interests of African people domiciled in the UK and globally, and to establish the framework for the restoration of African sovereignty through nation building. iNAPP's profile has perhaps been lower of late than in previous years, and it appears that in the ensuing vacuum, the orientation has less of a self-determination than on throwing our weight behind existing establishment structures. So tonight, Kings and Queens, we are asking the question, is Jeremy Corbyn the Prime Minister Africans have been waiting for? Is voting Labour really revolutionary? What lessons can be learned from Jeremy Corbyn's capacity to reach young people? Is not voting a strategy or a cop-out? Does activist support for Corbyn detract from building autonomous African structures? Is support for Corbyn a sufficient proxy for an African agenda? What is iNAPP's take on the upcoming election? Our guests in the studio, Kings and Queens, are Brother Mbandaka, as already introduced. We are also joined by Sister Isis Amlak of the Global African Congress. We will be joined on the line by brother Rashid Nix, a Green Party candidate, and we are also blessed to be joined by our international guest and marketing guru extraordinaire, brother Aakhu of Better Marketing Mastery, and also Kings and Queens, our fellow UNIA ACL member, Kings and Queens. So we're going to greet them all, and we're going to get brother Rashid on the line very shortly. But right now, let us greet our guest in the studio. First of all, Sister Isis Amlak, greetings and welcome, my sister Tendai Mwari.
Greetings to all. Tendai Mari.
And brother Aunkh, greetings, my brother.
Tendai Mari, what a joy to be here. What a joy. Thank you for having me.
All right. And brother Ouagadou-Mbandaka is also in the studio, as you know, Kings and Queens. And brother Rashid Nix will be joining us imminently, so do stay tuned. I'm going to start by engaging with our sister Isis Amlak, and for though I didn't read the full bios, Kings and Queens, because of time, but you're dealing with some illustrious guests, and if you want to read the full bio, check out Alkebu-Lan.org/Africa Speaks with Alkebu-Lan, and you can get the full information, the show spec I just read, as well as all the links, bibliography included, and all information regarding our guest. Sister Isis,
greetings.
And as we say, all viewpoints are welcome on Africa Speaks today, Kings and Queens. And so do you remember that when you call in? We just want to know, Sister Isaac, will you be voting? If you wish to share, if you're going to be voting. And if so, in that context, how are you placing the importance of this election in the lives of the African community in the UK? Because some are saying, this is the most important election for a generation.
So there's a lot of context to this. First and foremost, I will be voting, and I will be voting for Corbyn. Now, I have to echo, I think, perhaps out of all the people that you've quoted, Akala. From my perspective, first and foremost, I'm a Pan-Africanist.
Yep.
I believe in an African-centred perspective. And under no illusion that the Labour Party is an Africanist organisation or will take forward an Africanist agenda. First and foremost, we as Africans have to organise on our own agenda, unified, and we need to move that forward. We cannot rely on a white agenda by essentially a white Eurocentric organisation, which the Labour Party is. The Labour Party, as we know, I think Akala says it quite succinctly, has a track record of very questionable politics. However, of course, we can go back. We can say it was some time ago, but ultimately, let's not forget what happened with Tony Blair. That was a complete failure. I mean, there are still a number of Blairites in the party that need to be cleansed if the thing is to work. However, having said that, what I will say is that he is, his initials JC. He's by no means a saviour. But I do believe that fundamentally he is the only option to save us from the Conservatives. Now, the Tory party are the most horrendous group of people that we could possibly have running this country. The impact of a clear win for this Tory regime on the 8th of June will be to wipe away what few remnants of a social welfare structure there is left. Our people, unfortunately, due to racialization, have been forced into a ghettoized existence in this country. We are the people who are in social housing. We are the people who are denied access to education and housing. We are the people who are denied access to employment that actually benefits us, because we have this whole situation of the working poor. This is why I'm looking forward to hearing from my brother next to me about self-reliance and self-determination and our own economic models. So we are the people at the moment who are most reliant on social welfare. I'm not saying that's how we should be, but the situation has placed us there. What will happen on the 8th of June if this regime get into power is that they will remove every last remnant. The NHS is under attack. We have to question, are we in a position to afford our own healthcare? The threat to social housing, and not just that, but the actual blatant ethnic cleansing of local areas of London. I've seen it in West London. Those of you who live in South London have seen it. Those in East London and North London, they are ethnically cleansing our areas. They are moving us out wholesale. And they are using policies to move us out. They're using rent-arrears. They're using the fact that people can't afford to make the basic or meet the basic requirements for life. And this is what will happen on the 8th of June. So for my position is that to call it the most revolutionary act, I think is going a bit far.
I was going to ask my sister.
That
specifically,
but it is.
And to be fair, so that we're not charged with misquoting the brother.
Yeah.
Let me just get the exact quote. What he said was, most specifically, is one of the most revolutionary acts that many will make in this lifetime. I should let our listeners know we did invite Brother Twain on the show, and we're yet to hear back from our brother. So if anybody out there is connected to our brother, let him know that Africa Speaks are trying to contact him so that we can engage with him on our show today. And if he does choose to call in, we will be most welcome to have him on the line, Kings and Queens. So we hope Brother Twain is well wherever he is. And like I said, if you know where he is and have contacted him, let him know that Africa Speaks is trying to get in contact with him. But you were saying,
well, I give thanks, Brother ShakaRa, for clarification on that point. So yes, that makes a lot more sense. Yes, indeed. I think ordinarily my view would be whether we vote or we don't vote, we as Africans will continue to be racialized, exploited.
Yes.
In essentially racially constructed society, a neo-colonialist society with a neoliberal agenda that does not serve our purposes.
Right.
Yeah. However, I think this election is a situation where we have to vote because the risk is so terrible. What we're facing, it is like facing the devil or...
The devil.
Don't see it.
Well, I mean, to me, the concern, it really is the devil. I mean, if you look at the woman, she is the devil. She's a witch.
Yes.
And her party, let's not forget. I mean, in the 60s, when the Labour were bringing in these quite appalling immigration or laws to limit our people who'd been colonized, whose lands they'd exploited to build their own.
Yes.
And let's not forget that the Conservatives' mantra was, if you want a nigger for your neighbour, vote Labour.
Yes.
So, and these are the same people. So as heinous as some of the acts of the Labour Party have been, the acts of the Conservative are far worse.
Yes.
And what I will say, just in relation to the issue that Brother Nick's raised, what I would say is that he has some points. However, my concern would be that were he coming from the perspective of a platform of a Pan-Africanist organisation, an African-centric organisation, were he standing on that platform, I could understand that.
Okay.
But the Green Party themselves are a right organisation.
Now, stick a pin there, my sister, because we're going to come back to that. We're going to come back to that, all right? But for now, let me just make sure we've got our brother on the line. Brother Rashid Nix, are you with us?
What's happening, bro? You alright?
Yes, I'm good, sir. I'm good. Welcome. We're in the midst of our discussion, so do stay on the line. We're going to come back to you shortly. But welcome to Africa Speaks with Alkebu-Lan, my brother. I'm sure our listeners are blessed to have you on the line. As you just heard, our sister Isis Amlak has just gone in on some of the Green Party platform, which I know that you at least.
I didn't hear. Sorry, I was getting some papers ready. So
all right, no problems, my brother. We're going to come back to it. So just stay tuned for now. I'm going to interact with Brother Ouagadou-Mbandaka. Then I'm going to come back to you, Brother Rashid. Oh, sorry, Mama Kai wants to interact with Sister Isis first. Brother Leader, and then we're going to get to Brother Aakhu, and then we're going to So stay tuned, Brother Rashid.
Tenamore. Sister Isis. Now, you shared a personal with the community that this year you're going to vote, or this time you're going to vote Labour, even though you're not necessarily a Labourite. Has there been any other time when you felt to vote Labour?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't even realize I was eligible to vote. So I don't have a British passport, but because I'm a Trinidadian, I'm Commonwealth, so I can.
Okay.
And so, I mean, in many respects, to be honest with you, since my time in this country, I've always seen myself, I'm a foreigner. I make no bones about it. I'm a Trinidadian.
You're an immigrant.
I'm an immigrant. A migrant. I came here to take the houses and the jobs.
Okay, all right.
So, but it's because of the situation being so awful. And I have two daughters. They're 21 and 23, and I'm concerned about their futures. Yes. I'm concerned about education. I'm concerned that my youngest daughter's in her second year of a degree and the debt that she's incurring.
I'm thinking because...
so these are the reasons that...
Right, but I'm also thinking that at the same time, you've obviously done some research and you realise that Labour has sold us one thing and delivered another at each stage.
I watched that.
Okay, and but yet you're saying you're still going to vote in somebody who's demonstrated time and time again of saying one thing and delivering something else.
That's about understanding the dynamics of political organisations.
Right.
I mean, of course, I think Akala is right. The Prime Minister doesn't really, rule the country. We know there's a bigger thing going on in the background, yeah? However, Jeremy Corbyn is the only leader of a political organisation that I've personally met, that I've seen engaging in ordinary community grassroots activities.
Yep.
And I have the feeling, from having met him, having seen him. I just saw him on the train a couple of weeks ago on the way to Preston. The man was sitting in the second-class carriage just a few seats down from me. He's the only down-to-earth person that I feel personally that I could actually engage with another conversation, and he might actually listen.
Okay.
Sister,
All right.
that is the sentiment of a lot of people. I mean, you can go back 30 years ago, and it's true that Jeremy Corbyn, generally speaking, what he was saying 30 years ago, he's saying 30 years later.
Very unusual for a politician.
Right, and I had a conversation with a caller at African Liberation Day, and he's saying that as somebody from North London, he's spoken to some of his elder aunties and uncles, and they're saying to him that this man has been on this thing from them times until now. But I think the coming from Mama Kai's question, the concern is, the extent to which, if we accept that even if this guy is a decent human being, as a caller has said, right, if he's the leader of a party, the majority of which the establishment party is against him, what is it that you are suggesting that we need to do beyond voting for Labour, in order to get what we are voting for out of this particular regime?
Well, you introduced the interim
National
African People's Parliament.
Yes.
Now, this initiative, I've been watching it since it started, and this is exactly the sort of thing that we need. I'm a part of the Global African Congress. Our agenda is reparatory justice for the enslavement, the Mahafa and the Mahangamizi, for our people. These are the agendas that we need to be organizing around, and we need to be coming as a strong voice, as a bloc, and going to the likes if Corbyn were in power and actually communicating with this person, engaging and lobbying, but taking it to the next level. Because, again, coming back to the difference between Corbyn, Theresa May ain't interested.
Yes.
That woman looks at us with she despises the likes of us, and that we will never be able to engage in that agenda. We will never have the ear of that sort of person. So it's down to us that if somebody like Corbyn gets in, that we get ourselves organized and we get in there and we actually engage with this man and his senior advisors around him. We get our people in there.
I neglected to mention in the Corbyn credentials that he actually showed up at the beginning of the reparations march about 2 years ago. He was there at the reparations march in support of reparations. Mama Kai, you want to say something?
Jennifer, no, I'm fine. I think we just need to move on to our other guests. Thank you, my sister.
Right, thank you. We're going to come back to you, Sister Isis. The 248, we're not taking any calls at the moment. We're going to get through our guests first, then we're going to take some calls. All right. So, Brother Leader Mbandaka. Yes, Brother Leader. You've never voted, have you, Brother Leader?
Tendai Mwari, not voted in British elections, no.
Only in Pan-African meetings.
Only in Pan-African African organizations. I've done a lot of voting over the years.
All right, cool. All right. And pass put some motions on the floor, I'm sure.
Motions and resolutions, yes.
Have you been inspired by the Corbyn? Probably, I've never seen this before. I've never seen a politician in the UK backed by a genuine populist movement of people that have voted him in by a mass party, the establishment's against him, but the party majority is for him. I've never seen this. This is a first for me, certainly for me. And so
you're young.
Having said that, many of my generation have been, inspired to jump into politics. In a way, and we're going to come back to this, that many of us are not inspired to get involved in the politics of black organizations. Have you been inspired enough to make that step to say, I'm going to vote Corbyn for this election?
Well, Tendai, you're quite right. I've never voted in a British election, and I'm not inspired to vote in this British election. Jeremy Corbyn is the leader of a party, the Labour Party, which is like the Conservative Party. It is the left wing of, and whilst the Conservative, the right wing of an entity, call it a bird. It is there as an imperialist institution to protect and preserve the status quo of the society. I'm talking about the Labour Party machine. And so whether right wing or left wing, both wings belong to the same bird. And it's going in the same direction. And it's controlled by the same brain center. So we've got to get to the brain center. Now, you mentioned Jeremy Corbyn appearing at the reparations march, for example. But I've never heard Jeremy Corbyn make a substantive statement on reparations.
Okay.
Certainly has a platform now, and I've not heard him say anything startling in relation to the African community that makes me want to stand up and listen in terms of the oppression that African people specifically have been experiencing. So I'm not quite sure what the excitement is about. What's the question? What's our lead question this evening?
Is Jeremy Corbyn the Prime Minister we've been waiting for?
All right. We might as well have asked a question for some of what I'm hearing. We might have well had asked the question, is Jeremy Corbyn Jesus Christ? We might have well have asked that question this evening.
The Black Messiah.
Some of our people are behaving. No, as far as I'm concerned, to vote in the UK election is to endorse a system of oppression.
Right.
A system that has been oppressing our people for hundreds of years. It's endorsing that system. It's saying that system has credibility. It is saying that that system has some kind of integrity. It's not just about the individual, it's about the system. And we have to make systems analysis. I'm a Garveyite, and Papa Garvey says, hear all, but attend only to that which concerns you. I haven't heard enough from Jeremy Corbyn. But let me just say one more thing before you ask me any further questions. Let me just say one more thing.
Okay.
As a people, we have to ask ourselves, if we even vote and Jeremy Corbyn wins the election, or the Labour Party wins the election, Jeremy Corbyn becomes Prime Minister, where is our power base? Where is the mechanism within the African community to hold Jeremy Corbyn and his party to account? And did anyone notice how slow Jeremy Corbyn was to put the black members of parliament, the African members of parliament, on his front bench? It was when his...
Wasn't Diane Abbott there early?
Diane Abbott had, as I recall, Diane Abbott had a junior position until somebody resigned and she got promoted.
Was promoted,
but it wasn't an automatic choice, if I remember correctly. We might need to retrack our steps on this, but I am pretty confident that was, from my observation, that was the case. So I find that interesting. I find that interesting. But the most important question we have to ask ourselves is, where is our power base? What mechanisms do we have in place to make any demands on Jeremy Corbyn? Has any African group or organization or individual been to Jeremy Corbyn, had an audience with Jeremy Corbyn and said, what have you got to offer us, Jeremy? What are you going to give us for our vote? If we go out and mobilize the African community, what do you have to offer us for our vote? I have not heard anyone, even those who are championing Jeremy Corbyn, I have not heard anyone say, we've had this meeting with Jeremy Corbyn and we've had these agreements from Jeremy Corbyn. So we really need to have a serious look at ourselves. I think once again, from a position of weakness, we are hoping, we are putting our trust in a great white hope. And history has proven that is always our great downfall.
Okay.
Tendai Mar. So can I ask, Brother Leader, the International African People's Parliament, say it's nice, established, got all the different, blocks all over the country and so forth. Would you, as a chair, suggest that we vote en masse for a particular group then?
Tendai Mari,
party.
If we were ever going to use our vote in the British political system or the electoral system, it would have to be as a result of extensive debate and discussion and how we are going to strategically use our vote so that it systematically serves our interests as a people. This is what other communities do. Other communities don't just give their vote to anybody. They organize themselves as a community and they go to the various parties or institutions and they negotiate in their interests, and then they decide how they're going to organize their voting.
And it's not automatic labor.
It can't be automatically. That's not strategic.
But really, what do you say?
Is it not strategic to get rid of the Tories?
As a writer to that, Sister Isis, because the reality is, right, Brother Leader, that there are a lot of people who that they might agree with what you're saying, and I'm playing people's advocate at the moment, right? And everyone's going to get it on Africa Speaks today, right? Because it's serious business. This is serious business, Brother Leader, and you're coming with ideological purism. pure and simple. You're not being practical. And the fact is that what Sister Isis has said is that we've got clear choices right about now. Carla has said it, that this is the only time we've got a clear difference between the candidates. One is on something and the other one is clearly on something else. And so basically what you're coming with is ideological purism that doesn't have much place in today's practical reality.
No, what I'm coming with is real politics. And there's no politics without power. Where's our power base? That's the question I asked. Have we organized ourselves as a power base, as African people? No, we haven't. Then we can't play politics because we have no power base. And Sister Isis asked, is it not strategic to get rid of the Tories? Yes. The short answer to that question, my beloved sister, is no, if we have no power to hold Jeremy Corbyn and his party to account. It's not strategic because political parties come in power all the time with wonderful, lofty manifestos and deliver nothing.
Yeah.
So it's not strategic just to vote on the basis of the rhetoric that we get from both parties. And yes, it may appear to be the case that Jeremy Corbyn has a little bit more substance. But Jeremy Corbyn is one individual. He's representing an institution. And he's under pressure within that institution anyway. Who's to tell if the Labour Party wins the election that he would last out as the leader? They're trying to get rid of him anyway.
That's true.
Tendai Mwari, we have to make systems analysis.
Tendai Mwari, thank you for that, brother leader. We're going to get to our guest on the line, who's the only person on our show who is actually a member of a political party, as far as I'm aware.
For a while here, I got a jet, brother. If you ask me a question, please ask me a question because I've got an appointment to deal with. Go ahead, man.
Yes, bro. All right.
We're on a debate program, my brother. I thought you was joining the debate, but come along.
I said anyway. Yes, bro. All right. Yeah, brother Rashid. So you're a Green Party candidate.
Yeah.
And you put out a very hot and fiery video recently regarding your discontent with Black Corbyn supporters. Because as you just announced, you're short of time. Let me ask you a question I want to ask you a little bit later on, but it's in relation to what makes the Green Party platform more beneficial to us than the Labour platform as it currently stands.
Green Party supports reparations for transatlantic slave trade.
Okay. Now you would have heard us say that Corbyn was at the reparations march a couple years ago. And so, what's the difference there between the Corbyn agenda at the moment and the Green Party agenda?
There's not much. I'd say, if anything, Corbyn was probably closer to the Greens than he is to his own Labour Party.
So
he knows that. Greens know that. Even the Labour Party knows that, which is why they adopted most of the Green Party 2015 manifesto for the Labour Party 2017 manifesto.
So why then did you put out the video about Black Corbynistas being hoodwinked? If his policies, and I've heard your party leader say this, she said that Corbyn's been reading the Green Party manifestos over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course.
So why is it that
he's nearer to the Greens than he is to Labour?
But my question though is, why is it that, in your words, Africans have been hoodwinked in support of Jeremy Corbyn? If his manifesto or his agenda is so close to the party that you represent?
Yeah, because the reason why, my brother, and I'll make it real plain, because we don't understand the finer subtleties of politics. We talk about politics from the sidelines, and it's like you never been into a boxing ring, but you're an expert on boxing. You have to get into the ring, take some blows, and then when you see people fighting, then you actually understand the subtle points of what the game is all about. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? That's why you find that the best boxing pundits are men that have been in the ring and have performed. Then you get the commentators who never taken a blow in their life, never put on a boxing glove, and they talk about boxing. Me, I prefer to listen to the man who's been in the ring. And the thing with the Corbyn analysis, what I said was, because I like Jeremy Corbyn, I have nothing against Jeremy Corbyn, but when people get so wrapped up in Jeremy Corbyn and they're talking about they're supporting Corbyn, as I said, the only way you can support Jeremy Corbyn, the only place that you will see Jeremy Corbyn's name appear on your ballot paper is if you live in his constituency in Islington. If you don't live in his constituency in Islington, you can say you support Corbyn all day long, 24/7, 365, but when you go to the polling station and you actually vote, you'll be voting for one of those 180 Labour MPs that have spent the last 2 years trying to destroy Jeremy Corbyn. So we are actually sowing the seeds of our own destruction.
All right,
that was my point. That was my point.
So, brother Rashid, what do you say to? And I've heard this a lot. What do you say to people that say, "Well, voting Green, you might as well vote Conservative because the Green Party ain't going to get anywhere near power." And so, basically, you're just throwing a free vote to the Conservatives.
Well, obviously, like I said, it's about the subtleties of understanding the game. The reason why a man like myself would stand, because then I get to sit down on the panel at the debates. And then I raise issues relating to my community at the debate. They have to deal with the debates. So if you look at what the politicians are saying down in South London in the constituency where I'm standing, because I give the Labour politicians such a hard time, all you black people that are going out there voting for Labour, that's cool. Vote for Labour all you want. It's not really my problem. But based upon research carried out by the Runnymede Trust, they use education, employment, health, housing. These are the 4 indicators. Black people do worse in Labour-controlled areas than in Conservative areas under those 4 headings. The worst borough for black people in racial inequality is Lambeth. Lambeth is 1. I think Brent is number 2. I think Haringey or Tower Hamlets is number 3. Like out of the top 5, 4 of them was Labour-controlled. And so, because they keep that issue very, very quiet, come election time, nobody mentions it. And as a candidate, I stand for election, so my inbox every single day, I get so many emails from people. I get emails from the Jewish lobby. I get emails from the Palestinian lobby. I get emails from the animal rights lobby. I get emails from the gay, lesbian, transgender lobby. They all want. I get emails from the road haulage. I get emails from the farmers. The one group who does not send me any emails is people from the black community. So we have just put ourselves way outside of the agenda.
My brother, can I ask you, do you think that's because we haven't, as Brother Leader said earlier... Yeah, do you think that's because...
Sorry, let me finish. Let me finish, because I'm running out of time. We don't even raise our issues.
So you want votes?
As the Green candidate who sits on a panel with Labour, Conservative, Lib Dem, UKIP, I raise the issues about my community. Anyone down in Dulwich and West Norwood who see me on the debate, they'd be like, yo, this man is representing our community. This man raises...
That's fine, my brother, but the point I want to ask, that's good. You represent, when you're on the panel, you're there and you represent. The fact of the matter is, Brother Leader raised a very important issue. My brother, hold on. Yeah, my brother, just hold. We're trying to have a conversation.
For about half hour. Please, let me...
My brother, we're trying to have a conversation, just like with the other guests. My brother, just like with the other guests, we do chip in. And we do ask questions to guide it a particular way. We want to have clarity on something. I'm just asking a question. Brother Leader highlighted the point that we do not have a power base. How important do you feel that is? You're one man, like you said, Jeremy Corbyn is one man. You're one man as part of the Green Party representing the black community. Without a power base, how effective do you think you really are?
Well, I was answering the question before I was interrupted. And what I said was that I raised the issues that our community is feeling that they don't raise the issues. So this time round, all of the other candidates, they had to take a look at the fact that I was making a whole heap of noise and we was collecting votes. And once you start taking votes of other parties, they have to take on board your concerns. Malcolm said that in his 1964 speech, The Ballot or the Bullet, he spoke about this kind of politics. But because we always place ourselves not even at the table, not even in the kitchen, not even in the hallway. We're down the street, we're down the other side. Our concerns are never taken on board. So they pay lip service to our concerns. That's where we go wrong. We don't vote. We don't even let councillors. Imagine that. We live in...
But how important, my brother, how important do you feel it is to build a power base in your community?
Pardon me?
How important do you feel it is to build a power base in your community like the Interim National African People's Parliament?
But is it a power base? I mean...
That's what we're trying to build. Right. How important do you feel that is?
Brother Rashid, let me ask you like this here.
If you was out there, you'd be selecting councillors, no?
Brother Rashid...
You can get a councillor elected with 1,000 votes.
Brother Rashid, let me ask you like this here. You mentioned Malcolm X's speech here, The Ballot or the Bullet, a minute ago, right? Just to quote something from the speech, because people often bring up this speech when they're talking about voting. And in the speech here, he speaks about black nationalism, and in defining black nationalism, he says we must understand the politics of our community, and we must know what politics is supposed to produce. We must know what part politics play in our lives, and until we become politically mature, we will always be misled, led astray, or deceived, or maneuvered into supporting someone politically who doesn't have the good of our community at heart. So the political philosophy, one second, bro. So the political philosophy of black nationalism only means that we will have to carry on a program of a political program of re-education to open our people's eyes, make us become more politically conscious, politically mature, and then we will, whenever we are ready to cast our ballot, that ballot will be cast for a man of the community who has the good of the community at heart. So in that context, voting appears to have a condition on it, and the condition is the political maturity of the people, the community at critical mass, if not at large. So how do you justify evoking Malcolm X and this particular speech in the context of what you're saying?
Because we decide if we go to the doghouse and we go to the big house. We decide. And we have to develop our political.
But the doghouse, as defined in the speech, my brother, is as defined in the speech. The doghouse is the house of the wolf or the fox. And whichever we've i.e.
When he meant the doghouse, he meant you be out on the road. The big house is
I know, but I know the speech very well. You know, we're in Malcolm territory. I know the thing, And he said the doghouse. What he said was, you got the northern fox and the southern wolf, and whoever you vote, and what's it called? The fox and the wolf are both canine. Both come from the dog family, and therefore whoever you vote for, you're still in the doghouse. Whoever's in the White House, you're still in the doghouse. That's what he was saying.
He said the doghouse and the big house. That's what he said.
All right. Now, all right. I know you gotta go on, brother, but let me get this question in here. You see,
sure.
The Green Party, and like I said, bro, everyone's getting it today on Africa Speak, so don't feel no way, all right? Everyone's getting it, all right? And you're a politician, my brother, so I'm sure you can sign up to these questions, Now, as far as the Green Party goes, as we've gone through discussing Jeremy Corbyn's credentials or supposed credentials, depending on your perspective, with the the black community, Some would say, my brother, that the Green Party really represents the interest of middle class and even upper middle class white liberals, environmentalists in this country, generally speaking. Once again, bro, because just as a contrast,
tell that to the African
bro, hold on, bro, quickly, right? Just as a contrast,
tell them.
In America, for example, in 08-012, the Green Party heads were Cynthia McKinney and a sister called Rosa Clemente. And these people had credibility in the community, they had credentials in the community, and ran a campaign, for example, that was based upon their grassroots activism, in the black community. Slightly different to what seems to be going on over here with the Green Party. So how can we justify the Green Party's relationship with the black community in England in a way that will compel us to vote for them? In there, bro, Rashid?
I'm listening. I'm trying to work out your question.
I'm basically saying
because there was an event on Friday, down in Bristol, and that was a community grassroots event where the Green Party and they have black councillors, 2 Greens down in Bristol, elected by the community. And they took me down to Bristol, and I spoke at the event in Bristol, and we had a discussion about the manifesto. So I don't know, I'm not too sure what it is you're saying, because what I saw a couple of days ago was not what you described. Things are moving, but obviously if you're not in the circle, then you're going to miss out.
But there goes the thing, bro.
That was down in Bristol.
But is it not the role of politicians to come to the circles and not bring us into their circles? All right, let's ask him one question. Let me say this. We've got to get to Aakhu as
well. So to conclude your point,
Brother Rashid, can I just ask you one question? As a rider to your last point, may I just ask you one question, my brother?
Robert, can I finish?
As a rider to your point, may I ask you one question? Please. It only needs a yes or no answer. It only needs a yes or no
I was
answer.
finishing what I was saying. Please don't cut me. Please, just let me finish what I'm saying. That was happening down in Bristol. I was in a meeting. It was a Green Party meeting. There was more black people there than there was white people at this meeting. This is down in Bristol. This is how things are moving along, because the people down there, they realise, hold on a sec, we got to start reshifting the pack here. So they've elected black green councillors down there. The Green Party, I'm not no big fan, but they had a meeting over in Liverpool. This was about 2 months ago, and the Green Parties from Africa, from Mozambique and these places came over. These are African people. These are continental African people born in the motherland, and they're Greens, and they organise as Greens, and they're African people. So your point, in the context of the UK and of London, I can understand what you're saying, but the Greens are the only international political party.
All right, Brother Leader wanted to ask you a question, and I'm
Fire. Go ahead, big man. Yes, no answer. You say. Go ahead.
Yeah, 10-9 Mari. Bless you, my brother. Good to hear your voice this evening.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask you, my brother, hear your pronouncements on the activities in Bristol and various other cities. The previous weekend, we had Africa Liberation Day observances in various cities, including London and Birmingham, which had two of the main events. Did you manage to make any of the events, my brother?
Did I manage to go to any of the events? No, I didn't.
You didn't? Okay, thanks for answering.
I've been to ALD since, I don't know, at least 10 or 15 years, man.
And I fully hear that, bro. But I was going to ask the question in relation to...
This is the election year, my brother.
Yeah, in relation to that, because in terms of... The question needs to be asked, Brother Rashid, yeah? That if we're going to put up candidates for the Green Party, where are those candidates for the Green Party and Labour, whatever party itself? But we're talking to you, so we're going to speak Green Party now. Yeah, where are those candidates actually engaged? Which is why I put it in the context of America, because as I said, you can find examples of Cynthia McKinney and Rosa Clemente actually actively engaged in their community grassroots organising. Yeah, and so that formed their power base to become Green Party candidates. It seems to be the reverse in all parties over here, that people go to parties, join the parties, and then demand that the black community support their candidacy as black candidates. So I'm saying to you, where is the Green Party's engagement, or even your own as a Green Party candidate, engagement with grassroots organizations? Are you meeting with Sister Isis Amlak and the Global African Congress? Are you meeting...
Yo, brother, slow down. Yesterday, there was a grassroots event.
Yes.
Took place down in Brixton, organized by the youths, by the young heads.
Okay.
Because their need wasn't being addressed.
Okay.
This was grassroots taking place.
Yes.
The youth phoned me. They said, you are the only person that we know that's talking the talk on a political level that we want to hear.
All right.
Can you please come down and do a keynote for us? That's grassroots. You find me always grassroots, from Nation of Islam right through. Don't even go there, brother.
I'm asking a question, bro. It's
for our listeners, yeah.
It's a question, bro. People need to know. You know what I mean? Because I'm just saying that, for example, it would have been a blessing, for example, to have Brother Rashid Nix down at our iNAPP meeting, bringing that some of that energy, yeah, and explaining.
Brother, I went to the second iNAPP meeting at the church over there. I put my details down.
But bro, we're not talking about attendance, bro.
The second iNAPP meeting happened in 2011, my brother.
Bro.
The second iNAPP meeting was in 2011.
Yeah, I was there at the
We're in
2017.
We're not talking about attendance, though, you know, bro.
I'm ready to be of service, and no one ever contact me after that.
No, bro, come on now, you can't answer that. The community, but the point is, no, but the point is, bro, the point is, we're not talking about attendances. Thousands of people attended iNAPP meetings over the years, but I'm speaking specifically. Emmy, bro. I'm speaking specifically as a candidate of a political party. Yeah, and if you're saying that you're running for office and you want to organize a community around certain agendas, what I am saying is, because I remember you being on Galaxy, I've heard you speak about black people not voting and why black people don't vote. Yeah, but I'm just saying that as far as bringing the agenda to the community and organizing the people around these agendas on a grassroots level, I don't think, typically speaking, the Green Party is in our communities. You see what I'm saying? Yes.
Last week,
we have to get to Brother Aakhu, so
last week, in the space of 4 days,
yes.
In the space of 4 days, I was in 4 different events where we was discussing and mobilizing, from Twilight Bay's session down there in Fauna Heath,
yes,
to Kojo Ashanti. We did a thing over in Broccoli.
I was that Twilight Bay session as well.
Brixton Soup Kitchen down in Brixton, to the man them over, where was the last meeting? Down in Peckham, down at the front there in Peckham. Don't be telling me about I'm not grassroots, I'm not organised.
No, I didn't say you're not grassroots, about the Green Party, you know.
Brother. You need to climb down from that one.
No, bro, I didn't make no, bro. I didn't personalize the thing, you know.
4 events,
bro. No, come on down, bro. Be fair. I never. Listen, bro, Rashid, be fair, man. I know your time in it. I was talking about the Green Party, bro, and you as a Green Party candidate, not you as an individual. I know you're about this thing in it.
Okay, let me read a couple texts, and people can text us, brothers and sisters. You can text us on 07508 323 744. 07508 323 744. We're not taking the calls yet, but we will be. We're not taking calls yet.
Kings and Queens,
right. But anyway, we got these texts. Say, dear Africa Speaks, we very much hope you'll be supporting Corbyn as the only candidate with a track record of anti-racism, including defending young black people from police injustice, deaths in custody campaigns, shoot to kill policies, supporting immigration campaigns, and opposing joint enterprise and other injustice in the criminal justice system. There's a group called Africans for Corbyn that you might want to contact to comment on your show, and you might want to see the launch of Labour Race and Faith Manifesto. More than ever in this election, we as black people need to vote for the party with anti-racist, anti-austerity policies. In solidarity, ShakaRa. We have another text that says, in regards to the so-called supposedly important day, I do not see the representation for the benefit of my people to actually place the X. This has been played to us for a very long time. It's full time we really commence on our preparation serious. And our last text says, Brother Rashidi comes across to me as rude, full of ego, and lacking humbleness. Sister P. Tendamwari.
All right, we'll come back to that. Rashid. Stay tuned. Rashid, you're welcome, you know, because we've got 40 minutes left in the show. So please, I implore you to stay with us so that you can interact with some of our callers. But do let us know if you do need to ship. But I implore you to
but brother, I'll tell you what, seriously, because I've got an appointment. I've got to be down in Sutton, and I'm running late. I've got to jump on the train, man. But listen, I just want to say what you're doing is very, very important.
Yes, bro.
Very,
thank you very much.
Important what you're doing. And for the people that's listening, for those who don't vote, like the elder, brother leader, there's 1.5 million black people in London.
Yes.
1.5 million. We do not have one elected councillor that speaks on behalf of our community. We don't have one MP that speaks on behalf of our community. They take our vote for granted, so we don't vote. We don't vote, so we're not at the table. But trust me, black people as a whole, we live in council housing, we're going to state schools, and we use the facilities that are provided by the local council. Right. When they decide to close down our youth centres and our youth to run up and down the street, when they decide to sell our estates to private developers, which is what they've done to Broadwater, which is what they've done to certain estates down in South London,
yep.
These are decisions that are being made by people that are elected with 1,000 votes.
Okay.
A handful of people decide how a council, what direction it will take.
Okay.
If we don't decide to vote them people out and put some people in, we're going to catch serious licks.
All right.
Serious licks.
All right, brother Rashid.
But keep up the good work. You know I love you.
We got this again, bro.
Brother leader, you know I love you.
Yes, we love you too, my brother.
It's all love, brother Rashid. All right.
And I hope your appointment goes well. Thank you.
Yes.
And for all them people that's supporting Corbyn, remember, you can only vote for Jeremy Corbyn if you live in Islington. If you live outside of Islington, you can be voting for
Rashid, if you were staying longer, we could debate that, you know, but you know what I mean, so.
Well, we did get a text saying presenters ain't giving the brother a chance to speak. So there you go.
Oh Lord, that's not terrible, though.
All right, sister, I climb down.
You have a voter there, my brother.
You know what I mean? Someone's voting green, bro. Hey, Rashid, green power, bro. Green power. I will see you on the other side, bro. Or should I say red, black, and green power, my brother? All right, brother Aakhu at long last.
Welcome.
Brother Rashid. Brother Aakhu, at
Yes.
long last. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you
We got
for having
we
me.
got you on the air.
I don't know how I feel about you inviting me into a hornet's nest.
Well, bro, we knew that you could stand up against the rigors, bro. You know what I'm saying, of these kinds of tests.
Yeah,
But bro, you're a marketing specialist, yeah.
Yes.
One of the reasons why we have you on the show, bro, is because it comes to our attention that elections are really one massive marketing campaign all
Bingo.
around the world. All it is a big marketing campaign,
That's true.
and in which the currency is votes,
Yes.
yeah, or the illusion that votes matter, depending on your perspective,
Okay.
right? Now, really, before we open the lines, let's be patient, our listeners. We apologize for getting to you so late, but we have to get through a couple of these things, yeah. And I would ask you some preliminary questions, but because of time, let me get right to the substance of the thing. It appears, my brother, in many of the conversations that I've been having with people, that Black Labour, with its failed policies for over 50, 60 years,
Mm-hmm.
and its betrayal of African people for over 50, 60 years, has more credibility in the black community, and you can back me up if you think I'm correct, Sister Isis, there's more credibility than black organizations. I've been having conversations with people talking about that some people, and if you're listening, and this was I was having a conversation with you, no disrespect, I was relating it to the brother, but once the person I spoke to said that they couldn't sign the reparations petition, because they didn't think that it was coherent, but they're voting Labour this year. One sister said that she can't even do black organization because we can't even start a meeting on time, yeah, but we must vote Labour, yeah, because this, that, and the what next, and the blah, 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 the blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to figure out, how is it that black organizations have such a terrible reputation among the black community who we're trying to serve, but Labour, we feel compelled to vote for Labour? What's that from your perspective, my brother?
So on my website, I used to have a quote from Seth Godin, where it essentially boils down to saying you don't win in life, and he was talking about business,
right?
But like you said, really, when you look across the landscape, you realize that everything is marketing,
right?
So politics,
yes,
are marketing for certain things.
Yes.
Religion,
yes,
is marketing for your participation.
Yes.
So wherever that is happening, even in relationships, we're marketing. We're marketing to each other, right? You go out and you try to put on this nice, and you're like, okay,
get the good shoes.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm releasing my secrets. You know what I mean?
That's what it was.
Yeah,
got me.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Knew it was something.
Yeah,
but so from the perspective I teach from in terms of training in marketing, what I say is everything is actually marketing to a certain extent,
right,
in terms of human interaction.
Right.
That's what's always going on at the state. So whenever you have a phenomenon like you're describing,
right,
where the labor party, which I don't know why they call it a party, as if it's good times or something, but
yes,
but they use these terms very, very
interesting,
strategically.
Yes.
And it's not an accident. Maybe we should, call ourselves
parties as opposed to organizations. Yeah.
Organization sounds like work. Party sounds like.
Good point, bro.
Right.
Go ahead.
So when you have the phenomenon that you're seeing,
yes,
where you're looking out and you're saying, well, the people who are actually striving to work for these people,
yes,
are not getting any traction with those people,
right,
and the people who seem to be able to be disloyal to them consistently,
right,
seem to always have their attention, right? Same thing happens also in relationships. Sometimes you see the guy who's loyal and all that, and the one who's like trashing or
gets the attention.
Other way around too also happens with women.
Definitely.
And so what that means is that what it boils down to is you have a phenomenon of that these parties essentially, and in the particular case you're mentioning, is simply a better marketing system than what black organizations represent.
Right.
And black organizations historically, in relation to the black community, have been terrible marketing organizations, with the exception of just a few.
Right.
Garvey,
Black Power era,
Panthers, and all that. And if you see what the Panthers really took advantage of, because the image of them was not really the story of them. Right. The image was that it was these guys with guns and so on. But they were running school programs, they had the 10-point plan and all that. But they understood that the imagery was really important. The imagery that we defend the community was critical, because it set everybody on notice. So it was very strategic.
Right.
So we have lost our way in terms of paying attention to the role that marketing has in building out this reality.
Okay.
So in that sense, until we actually come into that comfortability again. And it's not by accident, by the way. So all the things that would truly liberate us, you will notice that when our people turn towards them, they either cannot do it, feel like it's not for them, they feel like spiritually it's wrong, all kind of different reasons, things that just keep us away from the actual functional things very often, all too often, that if we were really, really good at that, would change the paradigm. So what it means is you have this character. I'm not a politician. I don't know the politics of England. I know global politics, which is wherever we are, we don't get the resources. And the resources are ours to get in the first place, including England and everywhere, because they steal everything from us in the first place. So we should admit that this is not even theirs to have in the first place. But that's a conversation for another time. And I might not be the most appropriate person to talk about it since I'm coming in from the land of stolen.
Talk about
the people who stole.
The land of Trump, bro. The land of Trump.
You're out of opinion from across the water.
But interestingly enough, if ever can just add this for just a few minutes, we had a similar situation like you having right now in America. Where we didn't have somebody. We had a certain guy called Barack Obama. Who presented himself and created a whole fervor. Globally, globally, yes, but also in terms of American politics, and then specifically in terms of black connection to politics, it was a whole thing where he became a JC type figure. And so we actually have, in my view, the only difference is Barack was black in tonality, in terms of just appearing black, and JC appears to be able to articulate black policy, where Barack Obama never promised anything on black policy in any specific sense that would challenge the system. So everything that he didn't have to. Didn't have to make a promise, didn't have to do anything. And so I'm saying that there's actually, you could actually look at what happened with us, which is at the end of Barack, we got Trump anyway. So sometimes you think you're getting this now. But like you said, when a bird has two wings, sometimes it's lifting this wing up, next time put it down. So we have to be clear on what our involvement in these things are, and like you say, what our agenda is. Because at the end of the day, we have to figure out what's the best agenda for moving African people forward. We don't have to give a hoot about who and whatever somebody else is doing. It doesn't really matter, because we need power. We need to come to the power to be able to define our own reality. And of course, if we were able to do that, that would often, specifically disrupt those very systems that are in existence. So we do have a kind of quandary of, does participating in it mean that we're sustaining it as we're trying to deal with it in a certain kind of way? So these are things.
So, bro, last question before we open up the lines here. What is it then, from your perspective, from a marketing perspective? Is it that there are certain things that we're not doing, or should we actually be learning from political parties? In terms of how we're marketing ourselves, or is it? Some might say this: there is a deficit among the black community itself. Like we there's something about us. Our brain malfunctions. We buy into this thing more than we buy into what's supposed to serve us.
So one of the most magical words in marketing, and it's a word out of magic anyway, but is the word believe. Right. And you'll notice that almost everything in our culture, Western culture in general, depends on it. So religion depends on you becoming a believer. Politics depends on not who does something, but do you believe in what they say? Which is a very, very slippery slope if you understand it, because really, like you said, the system is not even about the faces that you see, because most often, like Barack Obama might be a good guy, but the fact of the matter is, he couldn't really change much of what was happening. When he got into office, even people in his own party started turning on him before he even had the chance to articulate the possibility that he may even think about considering maybe saying something about black people. So the Republicans never gave him a shot. His own people started turning on him, because when he got elected, he had the whole House and Congress at that time. Everybody. So it was supposed to be a clear shot to getting everything done.
Just a statement. When Trayvon was killed, he made one statement: if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon.
That's it.
Avalanche.
That's it.
It was deep.
That's it.
Go ahead, bro.
So that's the point. So we're playing a very interesting game that needs to be looked at first in the marketing perspective, if you ask me. Why is this guy coming to us with this narrative? which he really cannot deliver if you understand the system.
Right.
You cannot. You really can't. Right. But it fits us. It appeals to us. Right. Especially in the face of other people going in the opposite direction. Yes. It is very appealing. Yes. So what does it really mean is what we need to understand. Like, for instance, if we vote, does that guarantee that he's going to win? No. If we vote, does that guarantee we can hold him accountable? Right. So does voting really means what we're saying that it means in the first place, or what's going on? Because this is what we're being told. We're being told that the way you change, society is by voting. But the system created voting. I'm going to give you the tool to change me. Here.
But to me, it's about a strategy.
Yes, so
I hear everything you say and everything Brother Leader says, but ultimately, to me, it's a strategy.
Where does strategy lie in this, my brother? Like, why can't we just employ it as a strategy? Why, without even consistent?
We can.
She's not saying that she believes in the system.
Yeah, there's a myth of democracy. Let's not get that twisted. But it's the strategy of you've got two bad things potentially, and what's the worst?
Okay.
How do we?
So here's where strategy doesn't work. If you don't, So you guys over here play football, right? Soccer, right?
Yeah.
And football.
Okay.
Football, bro. Football.
No soccer. There's no such thing as soccer.
I'm working hard here because I'm speaking two languages in my head.
Give us a cricketing analysis.
I'm going to. That's coming next, right? So I'm just translating in my own head. So that reference was for me. Okay, there you go. So if you came out onto a soccer field, as a batsman from playing cricket, with the best cricket strategy on the planet, right?
Yes.
It's not going to work.
Yes. You're going to fail at football.
You're going to fail at football.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter how great you are as a cricketer in terms of creating that strategy.
Gary Sombers or Brian Lara.
You have to understand the game that you're playing.
Right.
So that issue about political maturity is really about that's what Malcolm was explaining to us.
Yes.
We have to understand how politics works in our community and works wherever we are.
Right.
And we have not been privy to that information because the way the system typically has worked is the less they know, the more we can use their energy for other means, to present to the world this idea that we're making the world a better place when really oppression is getting worse than it's ever been, arguably, and there's no signs of it changing anytime soon. And I promise you, Jeremy Corbyn will not be the one to change that.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Brother Aakhu. We got the lines are.
I haven't met him yet, and I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Indeed, he's very
Just in case
personable.
you're listening,
Very personable. As you see what the trade. Personable dude. Very personable dude.
Let me just quickly read this text. Call the numbers, ShakaRa.
0207-193-0174 Kings and Queens. Once again, 0207. 193-0174. We're gonna apologize for getting to you so late, Kings and Queens. You can also text us on 07-508-323-744. Aunkh is going to be with us for the duration of the week, Kings and Queens, culminating in an event on the Sunday, that's the 11th of June. Black Alchemy, the science of African-centered marketing mastery. I guarantee you want to be there. And if you have a ticket for Black Alchemy, Kings and Queens, and you're listening right about now, and you are the proprietor, owner, entrepreneur, CEO of a black business, text in your ticket number as well as the name of your business, and you will get a customized marketing strategy plan. And one person, Kings and Queens, one person.
That's it.
We're going to put you all in a hat. Yeah, we're going to put you all in a hat and then pull out one. All right. So check that out. You're going to get a customized marketing system plan program specifically for your African business. Text in 07508 323-744. Your ticket number is essential, and also the name of your business. Mama Kai, what text is?
I certainly do.
This is so solid. Africa speaks with Alkebu-Lan, Galaxy 102.5. Blaze the fire.
Tenamari, this texter says, for so many years, each time it comes around to voting, we seem to have this late debate over what party does what. But hear what? We as black people ain't come up with any formation but debates. So we might as well allow people to vote who they want to. After all, we ain't taking up residence on their rented home, schools, and so forth. Okay.
All right. Thanks for that. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So, Brother Reese, you're live. The 184. Please stay on the line. 184. Please stay on the line, but please be silent. We're going to interact with Brother Reese Archer first and foremost. Brother Reese. Brother Reese, are you with us?
I am, certainly.
Go ahead, my brother.
I'm not quite sure what all the argument is about, what all the conflict's about, and it's pretty clear. And it's pretty clear that those who believe their head is pretty clear, it's cloudy. And I will try to be succinct and precise and all that to tell you what this election's about. It's about freedom or slavery. And the argument about your freedom or slavery. Therefore, you have to be free to have an argument about freedom or slavery. And if you have been enslaved, then you need to have the right to have freedom to raise your voice to say, these are my conditions or my qualms about how I've been treated, and the redress that needs to be addressed. And if you were of that peoples of the human society that were enslaved and did not get your justice and fairness, then you need to be able to raise it. But unfortunately, if you vote for any party that believes in an open border, and I would like to address that, and I've got a real cute argument about that seems to trump everybody, but let me move on. If you were about the open border, and for instance, Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria, all of these countries, these 27 countries, who didn't have slaves, why should they, who have a real power in the EU, want to hear your argument about reparations in which they would say we had no part in, would have to pay? So, let's deal with this argument about the election.
My brother,
my brother, simplistic analysis.
Yeah, my brother. If you can make your next point your last point, because we've got a lot of callers on the line. Sorry to cut you, but you're making some very extensive points. You're building up to something nicely, but unfortunately, we want to try and get as many callers as possible. Okay. Go ahead, Brother Reese.
How much time are you going to give me to make the one point?
Yeah. Go make your next point your final point, please.
Okay. I will say this. It's about freedom or slavery. If you believe in an open border, then by extension, if that's cool with you, then throw away your door key and throw away your car key. Because if you have a door key, it's for a reason. Because you have finite resources, because you work for it. You work for it. And therefore you have determination of who comes into your house and spends time or not. Because you have a family to feed.
All right.
And that's what you work for.
Brother Reese?
If you have a car.
Brother Reese, gonna wrap you up, bro. But one word answer questions. Are you voting? If so, for who?
Hold on, bro. You can't do that, bro.
We've got two.
All right, cool. No problem, Brother Reese. Thank you for your call. Give thanks. All right. The 239.
You just had a guy who was on the Green Party that's owned by a Jew named George Soros.
Bro, he was a guest on the show, bro. But thank you very much, Brother Reese. We're gonna have to
been fooling people for a long time.
My brother, thank you very much. This.
Come on now, let's be clean.
End that call right there. Thank you very much, Brother Reese. Yes, indeed, Kings and Queens. 0207 193 0174. Number 2, the 239. You're live on Africa Speaks with Alkebu-Lan. What's your name? Where you're calling from? What's your contribution? 239.
Yeah, it is. I think that the brother from the Green Party is very, very misguided, and as the people, we are all misguided, because basically, Jeremy Corbyn at the end of the day is a white supremacist. Right? He may not be a right-wing white supremacist like Trump, but he's on the left of white supremacy. If he's elected, and he's a big if, he will command the affairs of the Britain, not for black people, for Britain, because he was elected by the British people.
Okay.
So, if that means that his policies will suppress Africa or the Caribbean, right, then he will use his position to elicit Britain's interest, because that is his interest, it's Britain's interest. So the question you must ask yourself is that we as a black people, what is our interest? Is our interest in voting for a party that historically supported an apartheid regime? Yeah? Is our agenda supporting a party that overthrew our leaders in Africa and the Caribbean.
Brother Kwame, what do you say to the argument, bro? That all right, what you're saying sounds nice, principles speaking, and them kind of things there. At the same time, we've got a clear choice between Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party, who want to scrap tuition fees, defend the NHS, and a number of other policies that all of us might think are good policies. Like I personally want the NHS to function. I don't want to pay tuition fees if I go to university, or my children, or my younger cousin, them kind of things there. And Theresa May, who wants to do, who basically wants to further privatization of the NHS, although she's saying she's putting more money in than the Labour Party, and wants to pursue hard Brexit and that kind of different thing. Clear choices there, bro. But what do you say to that?
There is no choice. Why? Because you're voting for the same white supremacist system, like I said.
Okay.
You're voting for the left wing of it, or you're voting for the right wing of it. At the end of the day, both parties answer to the same master. I think you must see my gist. They answer to the same master. And that system is the maintenance,
yes,
the preservation, and the formalization of the agenda of white supremacy. That has got nothing to do with African liberation.
Okay.
White supremacy is 100% diametrically opposed to African liberation. And if we are Pan-Africanists, we should not entertain this idea of voting for white supremacists on the right wing, or white supremacists on the left wing, or so-called liberals, who are even worse than the two that I've mentioned.
Okay.
Our agenda needs to be...
Brother Kwame, sorry, bro. The calls are coming in thick and fast here, so I think we've got...
Right, but the last thing I want to say to our people
30 seconds, bro.
is that rather than look to Jeremy Corbyn or Theresa May, look to yourself and first seek ye the economic kingdom, and then everything else forms onto that. When we have our own money, when we have created our own wealth amongst ourselves, if you want to participate in that white supremacy system, then you can use your money to buy off people.
Give thanks, my brother. Tenda Mori. The numbers are 020719300174. That's 020719300174, or text 07508 323 744 588.
588, you're live.
Greetings, Brother Nika calling from.
Greetings, Brother Nika.
Tenda Mori.
Yeah, greetings.
Sorry, one second. One second, Nix. The 611, please stay on the line, but please be quiet. All right, we're going to interact with a previous caller first, and then we're going to come to you. Go ahead, Nix.
Sorry. Yeah. So I think for me personally, I'm not voting. I haven't voted. I'm registered to vote.
Come on, Nix. If you don't vote, you have no voice.
Say that again.
No, I said if you don't vote, you have no voice, Nix.
What I would say to that is that the people who are not involved in the conscious community seem to have the biggest voice about people in the conscious community. So if there's one rule for us, it must be the same rule for them. So I don't mind not speaking about their politics if those who have negative things to say about the politics that us in the Pan-African community are involved in, if they're willing to do the same. But they're not, so I will continue to speak on matters that affect our people. But what I would say, and what I would want to say is that I'm not going to come and say that an individual, an African, shouldn't vote.
Yes.
You know, it's their right to vote.
Yes.
You know, people say that, you know, our ancestors died to vote. Yes. And yes, we have the right to vote. So I'm not going to begrudge anyone their right. The question is, what benefit do I or you as an individual have in voting?
Right.
Now, it's been said on the show previously, we don't have a power base. We can't hold these politicians to account. What we risk in putting all our efforts, and it seems like we only put our efforts into these short-term things where, you know, a quick X on a box, and then you don't have to do any work. You leave it to someone else to do. Okay. We're willing to put our efforts into that, whether it's a march, a one-day march, and then you don't want to put in the work after to resolve the issues that cause the march, whether it's police brutality or so-called black and white violence.
Yes.
We're very quick to jump on these bandwagons, but we don't look at the bigger agenda. If Corbyn does get in, if Corbyn turned around and said, I'm not doing anything for this community, the ones who are putting them into power, what can we actually say about it? We don't have a power base to do anything about it.
Okay.
So the voting, us putting into power, is all about hope prayer, and there's no real strategy behind it. I think the only reason
last sentence, please,
and be confident in voting is if we have the power to hold these people to account to make our vote count. Because every other community, whether it's Jewish, the Indian, whatever it is, the lesbian and gay, they hold their people to account. Barack Obama came into the United States presidency.
We're going to have to wrap you up. Sorry, Brother Nika.
Barack Obama came into the United States presidency, and we as African people in America didn't have any power to hold into account, and things go worse for us under the Obama regime than
thank you.
Brother Anika, it's hope and prayer. Just to clarify, Brother Rashid, are you back with us?
Yeah, my train's been delayed, man. So
ancestors are bringing back. Okay, right. We have 611. Let's move it. Let's meet 611.
Brother Rashid. 611.
No, we confirm you're a man of the people, Brother Rashid. You're back with us.
611.
back with you.
The 611.
Am I supposed to talk now?
Yes, you got about 2 minutes, though. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, greetings. With the 611. First and foremost, I'm going to be honest. I'm voting Labour. That's number one. However, no party on the face of this earth, even in Africa, is going to save Africans if Africans don't unite and do a spiritual liberation for themselves. That's number one. Number two, the brother from America was talking about marketing. Yeah, we need to market ourselves as a bloc globally. You see, this local thing, because England is a local country, it's a local island. All these local things that we are doing all around the globe ain't going to help us unless we are doing it globally at one go. Anything else we are doing, sorry to say, is a waste of time. And I'm just saying this with frankness and honesty. Now, I'm a member of the Global African Congress. That's Global African Congress, which actually represents black people globally. And if my memory serves me correctly, Ouagadou-Mbandaka was part of those who founded that organization back in Barbados in 2002.
You are correct, my brother, yes.
So
that's the Global African Congress, yes.
The point I'm trying to make is that we need a global agenda. You see, all these local things that we are doing around the globe is not helping us. As you can see, America is also another stolen global country. You understand me? Where our people are suffering. Even in Jamaica, Cameron went there and he said, let me give you 30 million for a prison, but don't talk about reparation.
Okay. Brother Joyola, you got to land now, sorry.
Did you say you want to come in?
No.
You've got to land. You've got land. You've got to finish your point, please. We've got two people waiting and we've got to close the show.
What we want to do as African people from Alkebu-Lan or Nubian people or Sub-Sahara Africans, we need to do it as one unit. We need to have ourselves organized like arms over there, eyes over there, brains over there, legs over there. We need to move on the earth like a giant so that they will know we are moving like gods and goddesses. Anything else, I'm sorry. I'm being honest, is a waste of time. We've wasted 500 years already on all these debates. And we fought for freedom from slavery. I know I'm not born Caribbean, but we fought for slavery, freedom, and look at where we are. We never got the 14 moves and the hectares of land up till now. So, think about it. That's my last point.
Hello? Yes? Yes, this is Mr. Bob. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Therefore, the money you get from any one of these governments, you keep along it and serve God with it. That's the master. And then we will help you to succeed in life. All right, then we're gone.
a lot of people that are voting now who are not grassroots organising. So speak to the voters and let us know what we should be doing.
So from my perspective, what I would say is that we have to vote because the risk of not voting and having the Conservatives in is just so awful. As I said at the beginning, JC is not Jesus Christ. He's not a savior. Let's not be under any illusion. Not be under the illusion that in this white documentary, in this white democracy, that actually he of himself or the Labour Party are going to save every person of African heritage. But he has a track record. He is a better alternative, and just to raise a couple of things. In 2015, he came out and said that Jamaica deserves much more than apology for slavery. I don't like the word slavery. I use enslavement myself, and also that Britain should atone for the benefits gained from enslavement. I mean, he was an anti-apartheid protester. I was part of the anti-apartheid City of London anti-apartheid group. We were constantly arrested. Defending people in Africa against the vicious apartheid system. He himself was arrested for that. He has a background in activism. I think that he is the best alternative in this election. And for me, the time it takes me to walk to the polling office a few minutes from my house and put an X on a card, it's not a big thing.
Okay.
So, go ahead and vote. It's him or the Conservatives.
All right. Thank you very much, Sister Isis. Brother Rashid.
Yeah,
1 minute.
Yeah.
We're in closing words time now, my brother.
It's 1 minute, my brother.
At an opportune moment. 1 minute, bro. Just for closing words. Why should the black community vote Green, and what is the Green Party going to do specifically for African people?
Okay, well, number one, regardless of who it is you're gonna vote for, I think it's very important that people, educate themselves politically to the final points of how the political game works, In terms of what the Green Party represents, the Green Party is the only party that actually supports reparations as part of one of its policies. Jeremy Corbyn might support reparations as an individual, but not as a party, Okay. Number two, the Green Party is very pro-community, so we defend social housing, we defend the services that are currently being cut by Labour councils. Up and down London. Number three, we're the only international party, and we deal specifically with the environment. So you find a lot of issues that the Greens put forward, other parties pick up on them years later.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so we're the only alternative party that are out there. All the rest of them are three shades of the same thing.
All right.
If you include UKIP, maybe four.
Thank you very much, Brother Rashid. Also, Brother Rashid, the Green Party wants to legalise the marijuana, the ganja, you know what I mean? I know that's a hot issue on the topics of many. The clue is in the name, Kings and Queens. The Green Party. You know what I mean? All right. Brother Aakhu, closing words, my brother. Anything that you want to reflect in the show?
So, it would seem to me, it would appear to me that often in dealing with our relationship with the system, the politics, that is around us, we are placed in the position of having to choose the lesser of two evils.
Yes.
And I would say, one, righteous people should consider if they really want to ever choose evil, right? If the good evil or the bad evil is, because that's what happens. We get in that place where we get the good white people coming at us, and then that throws everything to a loop. But the good white people haven't done anything to really eliminate the bad ones in that sense.
Okay.
So I would say that's one point I would like to make. And then the last point is to, if you're going to vote anyway, consider how you make your vote count.
Right.
In other words, don't ever just vote.
Yes.
And if he wins, you go, right?
Yes.
Consider how to make that vote count, because we all voted for Barack Obama in America.
Yes.
98% of black people voted for him.
Yes.
And then what happened over those 8 years of him smiling at us is that he eroded something like 70% of black wealth in America. So that went into the hands of the wealthiest people while nobody was watching, and nobody talks about it, and nobody sees it as anything. And again, he's a very nice guy, charming, personable, likable, interactable, great guy. He doesn't have the face that Donald Trump has. But to be honest with you, he was far worse for African people than Donald Trump could ever be. In many ways, because he could deceive us so readily through his sweet words.
All right, thank you very much, Brother Aakhu. Brother Leader Mbandaka.
Tendai Mwari, our sister used the term alternative. It's not about alternative, it's about power. And this thing's about power, and we have no politics. We're not in the game unless we have some power. Look at South Africa. Look at the history of South Africa. We were fighting for our liberation. We were fighting for power. We were fighting for our land. And we were deceived by the vote. We were deceived by the vote, brothers and sisters. They took our power and gave us one man, one vote. And we're still as powerless today, even with the vote, and even less powerful, less empowered today than we were under apartheid. Because poverty amongst African people, the gap between white rich and black poor has increased. Yeah, that is how that's the politics of deception, and how the vote can be used to disempower us. And let me just say, just very quickly, that this is not like America, a presidential constitutional republic. This is a parliamentary democracy. It is a party that you vote into power. And Jeremy Corbyn cannot do anything without the backing of his party, and he does not have the support of the majority of the parliamentary members of his party. We have to consider that as well. And finally, I want us to consider that he's also a defender and promoter of LGBT politics, and that is very toxic. And we don't have time to deal with it.
But that's another debate.
That's part of the far left or the hard left politics to support and promote LGBT philosophy and LGBT politics, which is the antithesis of much of our own African values. Tendai Mwari.
Kings and Queens, this has been African Street of Alkebu-Lan hot show. We've done a lot of different things and haven't done a lot of different things. But Kings and Queens, you can continue to interact with our brother Aunkh for the duration of his stay. First and foremost, he will be with us down at our Vimbo Verenga, Studies in African Spirituality and quote-unquote Religion, where he will be delivering a presentation on secrets of yoga, 21 things they don't want us to know, Kings and Queens, down there at Mama Africa Culture Shop, 282 High Road, Leighton, from 7:30 p.m. Kings and Queens. So do come down and check that out. He will also be here doing a whole heap of different yoga practitioner stuff. So we're gonna you'll get that information tomorrow. Don't have time, you get it tomorrow, Kings and Queens. There are many yoga events coming on this weekend. Right, so coming down tomorrow and get that information. But you can come down to Black Alchemy, the Science of African Centered Marketing Mastery. On Sunday, the 11th of June, down there at the Caribou Center, from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Doors open to the Black Alchemist Market, Kings and Queens. About 25 black businesses catering for our community. Brother Robin Walker is going to be on the bill. Myself, ShakaRa hosting. Tasha Makida and Oneness Sankara delivering the edutainment. ShakaRaSpeaks.com/Black Alchemy is the address, the web address.
So bring your family and come celebrate our Parents and Ancestors Day. Galaxy Radio, Saturday the 10th of June, 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Bradfield Boys Club, 5 to 13 Commercial Way, Peckham South East 15. Initiated and sponsored by Galaxy Radio Family in association with a coalition of organizations and businesses. Yes, brothers and sisters, we're all going to be there on the 10th of June. Brother Leader will be addressing our community as well, 2 p.m. till 11 p.m. Also, the Alkebu-Lan children will be doing a tribute to the ancestors. Tendai Mwari.
Kings and Queens, next week as we continue to talk it straight and make it plain. Around here we say, Tendai Mwari. ShakaRaSpeaks.com presents Black Alchemy, the science of African-centered marketing mastery. On Sunday, the 11th of June, we unlock the secrets that will allow black businesses and organizations to take back the power, succeed, and prosper in today's world with our special international guest and guerrilla marketing guru, Brother Aakhu, also featuring performances from Tasha Makida, Oneness Sankara, and the 7 empowerment principles delivered by the Black History Man himself, Robin Walker, hosted by ShakaRa. Brother Aakhu will delve deep into Guerrilla Marketing 101, understanding and overcoming black community-specific challenges, low-cost and no-cost marketing, as well as marketing that pays you. recession-proof marketing, the art of visibility.